This is Unknown to Known, an on-cam ready presentation. I'm Jamie Maglietta. Thanks so much for joining us. If you're liking this content, be sure to follow us on your podcasting platform of choice or subscribe to the YouTube channel. That's where I also have the podcast Think Like a Producer, and I have additional content to help you on your journey from unknown to known. I want you to be able to lean into the new media space strategically so you can attract clients and lure in the press. So today we're talking personal branding. Right now, we are living through one of the biggest shifts in media we've ever seen. Over 70% of consumers say that they trust a person's online presence as much, if not more, than a traditional resume or credential. And more importantly, that digital footprint is no longer just for people, it's for an algorithm. I was just on another podcast talking about this and how this AI mode, this search mode, is pulling from all the different websites, even social media, to paint a picture of who you are and who you serve. So you want to make sure that you are feeding the algorithm exactly what you want it to know about you. Now is the time to be essentially programming your social media and your online presence like your own media channel. So today we're going to just talk about, the starting of that personal branding, what you really need to know and understand, as well as how you can start laying it all out online. A website is definitely one way you can start training the algorithm and AI to know what you're all about and what you offer. But in this episode, we definitely suggest that you make sure you know your personal brand, your messaging, and who you're serving, your offers, before you put that website together. Otherwise, you'll be like me and create your website 4 or 5 different times. I'm still creating my website. Visit oncamready.com so you can check it out. Again, this is Unknown to Known, and I'm so glad you're with us. Today, we are talking with Krissy and Claire from K&C Creative. Here's our conversation. I'm so glad you guys could be here. Before we get started, I introduced you a little bit in the setup, but why don't you tell me a little bit about your story? Claire, why don't you go first, then Krissy?
Yeah. So Chrissy and I are business partners and sisters. I am the K&C Creative, and I do all things branding, web design, kind of the visual storytelling as far as working with our clients and in our community. All design questions and design needs defer to me myself. My background is actually in interior design. I went to school for that, and then quickly moved into a startup in the event world, which then turned into kind of like learning a bunch of different hats that led me to marketing. And then Chrissy and I started working together, and it's evolved into where I'm at now, where we help clients build their brands, build their websites, and get online with really clear branding.
Krissy, you want to add?
Yeah, no, I love it. I'm all things business strategy, marketing, messaging. And I think that definitely comes from, I was a nurse. I like to say in my past life, I was a peds nurse. And so that constant communication between patient and family and doctor, having to like understand where everyone was at and what people are communicating and be the advocate. I think that comes to play when we're working with clients as well, whether it's they're DIYing their stuff or we're doing it with them. So just like, what is the message you're trying to get across? How are we communicating it with our words? Claire's like, how are we communicating it visually, right? Just to make sure that everyone on the outside getting your message has a clear understanding of what you're trying to do and how you can help. So kind of weaving in all of my past positions into what we do now is very fun.
And full transparency, guys, whenever I am packaging people and making them more bookable, I always recommend K&C Creative when they're building out their websites and coming up with their messaging and their logos and their creativity. So please, check out their website. There's a link to what they have to offer in the description. I want to say that off the bat, be fully transparent. These two, we have been essentially collaborating on more than just business. We've also been hosting events for high ticket women in the Atlanta area under the Known Collective. So if you're listening and you just want some more in-person attention, you want to be surrounded by more people who are on that journey from unknown to known and they're increasing their visibility, reach out to us on Instagram, find us, connect with us, ask us about the Known Collective. we are always looking to add more people to our group.
That's right.
All right, guys, let's dig in. I mean, personal branding is one of those topics that I get asked about a ton. And as a television, news journalist and producer, I really know how to, ask the right questions and work on the messaging. But I look at it more as I'm trying to package someone for the media, for their ideal client on social media and YouTube. And that's my primary. But as we've noticed, it all bleeds into that full digital presence that includes the website. So when you're looking at someone's brand, what is one thing that really stands out to you that helps you determine whether or not someone really needs attention online?
Well, the first thing for me would be is, do I feel like they're having an identity crisis?
Mm, yeah.
Right? If it's not really clear right out of the gate what they're trying to present, then you have an identity crisis on your hands. And that goes both for design and copy. If you aren't being consistently clear about what you're saying, what your headline reads, what those specific calls to actions are. So, for instance, if you are a coach or a course creator and you work one on one with clients, if you have 4 buttons at the top that are like, go do this thing, contact me through my contact page, book a call, schedule an appointment, which are 2 different links. Like, there's an identity crisis within your calls to action right out of the gate, and people don't actually know where to start. So, that is the number one thing I think when I'm looking at the first impression, that above the fold on a website, and if the website is the first place I'm experiencing this person in their business, is it really clear what they do, who they are? Are they persona forward or business forward? Like, are they
Mhm.
branding themselves as the business, or does the business have its own brand? Because that will position you differently. And if you can't tell, again, identity crisis, right?
And you brought up a little bit of this at one of our known collective events. You were giving your framework. So do you want to share some of your framework while you're talking about clarity?
Yeah. um, Clarity is definitely a big part of it. Clarity, cohesion, and confidence, right? So, clarity is the thing that you start with that helps everyone understand who you are. You have to understand who you are first. So, that is establishing what it is that you do, who you speak to, how you want to show up, what your presence is. And that is from like anything from just, are you a seat of authority, or are you more of a peer type persona? And then from that, you want to make sure that you're aligned with your audience and you're showing up regularly in all of the spaces, right? Whether it's
Mhm.
social media, talking head, YouTube, your uh, actual website itself, in person, right? So does wardrobe involved in that? Like, making sure that it's all kind of packaged clearly. And once you have that clarity piece, uh, and you're really clear on that, that's when the cohesion comes into play, making sure that it's consistent across all of those things that then lead to confidence, which allow you to show up almost like streamlined, right? So it's so easy for you to rattle off what you do, what you provide, who you speak to, that it feels like you're saying it in your sleep, to the point where that confidence just spews out of you, and then you get booked on podcasts, media, etc. So that's the very quick rundown of that framework that we want to make sure that we're hitting as we're moving through that branding piece.
And, just to add on to that, when you are putting together your online brand, you also want to be seeing how AI is digesting it. And that brings up a point that you guys have been discussing with me about the AI and using it to really transform your brand, making it more effective too. Chrissy, do you want to weigh in a little bit on AI and its impact right now on personal branding?
Yeah, definitely. So, from the perspective of not looking at it as we're using AI as a tool to help us in our business, but more we're using AI as a tool to be recognized and referenced, right? People are using
Mhm.
ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatever to ask, like, for solutions. What should I do in this scenario? Who should I hire? Who's the best at this? Or Google. And then if you've got your Google AI, Gemini turned on, it's going to give you that AI recommendation. And so you want to be the one that's referenced in AI. And so as you're setting yourself up online, it wants consistency. It does want authority. Claire kind of mentioned that. It wants to know like you're in an authoritative position, you know what you're talking about, and then a consistency piece in terms of seeing the same thing everywhere. So when it comes to your online presence, does your YouTube channel and your Google business profile and your LinkedIn profile and your social media, is it all consistent saying the same thing on who you are, your persona name or your business name, what you do, who you serve, because it wants that consistency to say, like, okay, they're not having an identity crisis. They are the same across the board. That's building more trust for me to then reference and recommend them. And as more and more people, I mean, 70% of 72, I think, percent of the people are using AI on a daily basis, you want your business to be recommended because it's
Mhm.
like a friend recommending your business.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I think that's just consistency, repetition, cohesion. So, Jamie, when you're working with people and really getting that identity of the brand together to package them up, are they showcasing themselves the same across platforms is so
Correct.
important.
And like, what I always love about our conversations is we complement each other in so many ways. Like when I'm working with people, yes, I'm helping them with messaging, but it's more of like I need people to come to me who've already ironed out who they are, who they serve, what they want to do, but they're struggling to turn their thought leadership and that branding into content. They're like, I need content ideas. I need to be produced so I can at least jumpstart my visibility journey, launch online effectively. And part of that launch, I now am suggesting, like, let's do new headshots. I have a colorist I'll send people to who helps them with their wardrobes and their outfits, and I'm like, hey, and now you need headshots. Like, you need to be increasing your professionalism across all platforms and you need to look like the same person everywhere too. And you don't want an AI image if you want press, if you want credibility. So then from there, I'm usually like, okay, now that we've kind of you know what your brand messaging is, you need some like clever themes that you can put across your call to actions, your website, and you may need to redevelop your website in order to get people in the front door effectively. And that's when I'll usually send people over to you. And it's because if you want to be booked on the media, a podcast like Claire was saying, your messaging not only needs to be clear, but it also needs to be relevant. And the only way you can focus on relevancy if everything else is already ready to go so that you can show up every day, maybe giving a POV on what's happening in the news, sharing your perspective on LinkedIn, knowing that when they find you and they look you up, they're like, okay, she's got it all together. And
Mhm.
that's what I love about, all these pieces of the branding puzzle for that journey of all these people on, from unknown to known. And so, Chrissy, you've been working with people in the branding space for a long time. That's how we first met. We actually first met when you were writing your book, Sell
Mhm.
While You Sleep. So I want to make sure we get into some tips for people who want to sell while they sleep on this call. From your perspective, what actually moves someone from unknown to known in the digital space? Is there something that you think really stands out for someone?
Well, I think definitely consistency, just kind of everything that we've been talking about. If you have a visual presence, kind of something that you're known for, I think that's very helpful in helping you stand out. And I don't want you to get overwhelmed to think of like, oh my gosh, who do I have to transform into to stand out? Sometimes it is just being yourself. Like if
Mhm.
you're, I know one of your clients is like big into horses. And so she incorporated that into her brand. And so it's like the real estate agent with horses. And so it's like an identifying piece. She didn't have to, oh my gosh, I have to learn how to ride horses to like stand out and be noticed. It was just like, that's a thing, right? Like we just got 4 chickens. So like, I'm sure some of my content's gonna be like, now there's gonna be chickens in content, and it might just become a thing of mine, right? So you don't
Mhm.
have to, and it doesn't have to be elaborate like some random farm animal, right? But like, what's the little thing? I remember seeing this one woman once and like she was obsessed with Disney World and
Mhm.
Mickey Mouse ears. So literally every piece of content she created, she was wearing Mickey Mouse ears. And it's just sort of became her like signature thing that she did. So
Maybe now
maybe
yours will be a chicken. You'll give branding advice with a chicken.
that's right. I've been calling them my chicken copywriters, my 2
Uh-huh.
copywriters. Yeah, so
Copywriter
again,
tricks.
That's right. That's right. I love it. I love it. So it can be, it can be simple. I think the important thing is to stay authentic to yourself so that it doesn't feel forced, so that it doesn't feel like you have to like rethink it all the time. Just be yourself and lean into the things that you love, that you're drawn to. Maybe it's a color palette, Jamie's is purple, or maybe it's not that and it's something else. Just lean into that. So I think just being consistent, having something that you're known for, like Claire and I are sisters. We look very similar if you're seeing us visually. And so we lean into that, right? Like with our brand, the K&C Creative, we're the sister duo. We look alike. So we lean into that for our branding because that sets us apart. We're a duo team. I
Well,
do the copy, she does the design. We believe you need both to have a good strategic brand and website, right? So we're leaning into that for the brand. Claire, are you going to say something?
well, I was going to say, it's not just like, it's not just that you see us and sometimes you can't tell if we're twins or not. It's that
It's a hook, though, Claire.
it's a great hook, but because of that, people assume we are the same. And so we actually use that to then leverage the fact that like we are very different people. Like Chrissy has her own we have a lot of similarities, but like Chrissy has her own interests, I have my own interests. When we when we are taking our dogs out to walk in the neighborhood, I have to like make sure I like change into the same pullover zip. Chrissy's wearing the same sweatpants that are 3 times too big that she's had for a decade and a half. Like we have our
Obviously, Christmas theme, not around Christmas.
yeah. And so like and I'm not saying that she's a slob and I'm curated, but like it's okay to show up different and not be the same person. And it lends to the fact that I am the neurotic creative perfectionist that is great for design, where Krissy is the done is better than perfect trial and error strategist that has been able to keep, I would say, launch our business into the ethos more readily than I ever would have, because it would have had to be perfect and nothing is ever perfect. So we complement each other. And so that's something that we also lean into. Like, don't be fooled that we may look alike. We are not the same. And that's what you're going to get from us. You're not going to get the same thing doubled. You're going to get two unique humans with unique perspectives, with unique skills that come together as one package. So it's my point is that it may be hard to find what your angle is or how to position yourself. What do they say in the industry? Spin, which I feel like has a negative connotation. But the ability to find something that might even be mundane and then just develop your business with that thing. That is the secret sauce for the branding part. Right?
Yeah, and it's so true. And like I was about to let me pull something up. So many people, they start their brand and they don't really put all the thought into the visuals, and then they launch and they're redoing a website like myself 5 different times. Like, because you don't think about that. You're like, all right, these are great photos. And then you start realizing, okay, wait, I needed a color scheme for that photo shoot. Oh, wait, I need, like you just start to learn by doing. As you know, you're saying it's better to start than to launch than to wait until you're perfect. However, I do think there is some value into thought leaders who want media and they want press and they want to build a business to really iron out those color schemes and their logos before they start launching. Like for me, I went through an iteration of colors. It's like I knew I wanted purple, but it was like the complementary colors never really felt right until I just went black. And it's all black, and now it's this purple and a grayish color and some shades of purple like throughout, darker purples. But it wasn't until I like played with colors for an extended period of time, like a year, that I was like, this is it. How do people maybe get to that point faster? And in the meantime, I will pull up a website of someone else, but go ahead. Tell us like, how can people kind
I'm
of
like, hire
get
help.
ahead on that?
Hire the professionals. I mean, really, that is the truth. Like, we're, two different versions. Like, are we talking like the DIY get you there faster, or like, do you really want the fast? Like, hiring help is where it's at. I mean, when we started, we didn't hire a lot of help. So it was like we were figuring it out, and then years and years of, trial and error, figure it out. But if you want to get to your end result faster, you hire people who know what they're talking about, who have years of experience and can pull it out of you quickly so that you don't spend a year trying to figure out what are the colors, right?
Yeah.
If that's not something that you really want to be investing in, then you just need to give yourself grace that this is going to be a longer process for you.
Yeah. And you're going to be making a lot of websites.
Right. With action comes clarity. So you do it and then does it feel right? Do I like it? I don't love it. I mean, a lot of times we're not building someone's website from scratch. Sometimes we are. Sometimes a lot of times we're rebranding, right? And I think this is, Jamie, like where your clients are is they have been doing something for a while and they've really kind of come into like that clarity of, okay, this is what I want to be doing. This is what I want to be offering. This is what I want to be known for and get in the media for. I have that clarity. Now I need to make sure everything online is leveled up to where I am. So we're humans, we evolve, our businesses evolve over time. And so that's a lot too, where we end up attracting people is like this second version of themselves, this 2.0 version where they're like, I'm ready to rock and roll. And now everything online feels less than. It
Yeah.
doesn't feel like the professional that I am, that I know I am, where I'm going. And I need to bring everything else, elevate everything else so that it looks like I'm as professional and knowledgeable as I am. Because if
Yeah.
someone goes to your website or your social media and it looks very DIY, your credibility goes down
Completely.
instantly.
And like what I've been doing with mine is taking a lot of the elements that Claire designed and incorporating them into my new look, my new color. Like you made this template for me in Kajabi. I'm now just changing colors and it's taking me a long time. But after I started to realize like people were saying there's not enough photos of you on your page to like really showcase all you've done. And this is my homepage. Like Claire did not do my homepage. She built a funnel for me, but I was copying a lot of what she did from the funnel to incorporate into my own website so I could do it myself because as a creative, I thought it would be fun. And it was until it wasn't, like it's a lot of work, but a lot of the artistic elements that I use, like the fonts and like the little icons, Claire came up with. And I wouldn't have it if it wasn't, for her and Krissy, really helping me map out what do I need to include on my website. And yes, I do use, a variety of different strategies for my own website design, copy, and layout. It's like that Krissy, Amy Porterfield style. And then I have like the BBG style and trying to make it my own. There's also people who do like a truncated version of their websites and it works fine for them. So don't feel like you need a ton of copy, but I definitely defer to Krissy. There is an emotional connection that you're creating through more copy than less. So I think you need to talk on that because a lot of people, when I tell them that they really need copy, they're hesitant. They're like, why would I need that much copy?
Well, I would say you probably need less copy than you think you do, but that's where the skill lies is being able to say what you need to say, how you need to say it, and get the emotional reaction with the words with actually not saying too much.
Yeah.
And that's where the strategy. And so if you're using AI to write your copies, especially ChatGPT, it writes a lot. It
A
writes
lot.
too much. Right. It writes too much. So when people are like, oh, I'll hire you for the design, but I think I can do the copy. And I'm like, are you a copywriter? Like, are you hiring another copywriter? And they're like, I think I can just use AI. And I'm just like, I cringe inside. And I'm like, oh no. Oh no. So like we're even coming out with AI tools because it's like, that is one piece. Like you can leverage AI to support you, but you need to make sure AI knows the right strategy and positioning. And otherwise it's going to give you a ton of copy. And it's like, this is for a website. and it's only as good as it is. And so we're even creating these tools to help you write with our copywriting strategies built in to get what we want in your tone and all of that.
That's great.
Yeah, but I just think that that is more when it comes to copy, more doesn't mean better.
Mm-hmm.
And in fact, when you can have less and have the impact that you want, it's better. I mean, think about all of the things that you're bombarded with on a daily basis. You have to make 1,000 decisions every day, from what to put on to, which direction are you going to drive to your meeting so you can avoid traffic or whatever it is. And we have the attention spans of a gnat because everything that we consume comes to us instantly and fast, and we can get whatever we want. And now with AI, it's even faster. So it's like we need to write the copy in a way that's not a book, and we need to write it for different personality types and different consumption types. So for the people like me, that I'm a very blue fun but red personality, like I know what I want and I want it. So like just tell me what it is and how much it is, and I've already made my decision on whether or not. I just want to make sure like it's aligned and it's there, right? So I need the bullet points, or I need the bolded. I'm a skimmer. I'm not going to read every single word.
Oh no, I don't read anything.
I have so many thoughts to add on to all of
Okay,
this.
let me in.
Well, as you were talking about how AI spits out so much content, I just it's triggering for me because when we have clients that do their own copy and then they bring it to me and I'm the one that's doing the design, we have the strategy behind how a website is meant to be built. And that strategy involves things like old school SEO and new skill AEO, which is, AI engine optimization. And when someone comes to your site, you get rewarded when they stick around and click around and stay on the same main URL, right? So when it comes to, let's take just the about section on a homepage. That should be brief, probably 300 characters, really short. It's a just a little bit about you to get them to click get to know me better button, the call to action to take them to the about page. That's strategy. You don't want to unload your life story on the homepage. People are they're squirrel. They will lose the plot. They don't know. Now your offers are buried in a storytelling blog style landing page, and you lose the strategy. So that's just the one example. And then get them to the about page. You're not actually talking about you. Not really. I mean, you definitely are calling out your credentials. You're calling out your qualifiers. You're explaining why you're the expert in the thing. But what you're actually doing is speaking to their pain points, talking about how and why you understand them through your past experience. Like there's so much strategy that you just can't, unless you know it, extract from a robot that's not necessarily focusing on that until you teach it. Right?
And to add to that, having had to do it, you really don't know what your ideal client is going through until you've really started to work with a lot of them. And
Right.
it's hard to identify the language and the words that you need on your website until you've had enough experience. So if you're someone like me who is in television news and now you're pivoting to a person versus a TV show, it's hard to speak to that one person when you've always spoken to the masses,
Yeah.
right? You're like, I'm talking to all, not one. But now you're talking to one. And it can be hard for people. And AI can help you in the sense of be your co-producer, your co-writer as you're going through it. But, it brings up a really good point, of making sure someone goes actually through it and edits it, copy edits it, because you want to make sure you're hitting all the right points that they're making. And now, when I'm done with my website, I'll definitely have to hire you guys to comb through it. I have to finish all my tabs and feel good before I hear you guys tell me not to do certain things, but
well, and
it.
then you had mentioned the whole scanning thing too. And you can have all the perfect words on a page, but if it's not clearly positioned, like
Mhm.
visually, if there isn't a hierarchy, if there isn't a flow, a break from text to imagery, if there isn't strategic animation, not animation overwhelm, but strategic animation that calls out certain things as they're scrolling through the page, doesn't matter what the words are. They're not going to
Mhm.
want to read it because no one reads a website the way they read the New York Times. They're not sitting there looking for every single word. They're looking for the reason they came to your site. And so you have to be very clear that you're getting them to the site for the reason that you intended and then telling them exactly where to go, both through the copy, of course, but then the visuals. What is
Mhm.
the
It's
most
journey.
predominant thing? And
Mhm.
all of this comes down to back to branding, right? Because if you are, if you're Jamie, if the number one thing you want people to do, what is the number one thing you want people to do as far as taking action with your
Right now?
potential ideal clients? Yeah. What's the number
Right
one
now,
thing?
I want them to book a media readiness audit so I can evaluate their online presence and show them where their gaps are against other experts. So if they do want media attention, they know where they need to start showing up effectively and strategically to stand out before they seek press.
Okay. So
I
that's
want people to
perfect.
see before they want press.
Right. So when they come to your site, that should be the number one thing that you position at the
And
top above the fold.
you would think that. And now we're going to get into a whole conversation of the front doors. So my website was speaking to one person, but because I am a producer, an active, still hired producer,
Mm,
to have a website that only talks to that one person made it confusing to those that hire me through my company to produce their YouTube channel or to produce, a live event. And that's where it became hard for me to just talk to that one person. And it is hard for a lot of
yeah.
professionals because they're like, I'm so diverse. So I started this thing of doors. So I have on mine, it's like the doorways to me. And I had a LinkedIn recruiter guide me toward this. It was like you have too much. If you talk to one person, you'll alienate those that may want to hire you for media training or for your media guidance. So I don't know. How does someone like me overcome that? Is it doors? Is there another alternative solution?
I'm gonna let Chrissy take this one as the business strategist, and then I could speak
Strategist
to then I
Chrissy.
can speak to the strategy behind the design.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, we're also like talking about this too on our site, right? When you have two different avatars, like ours is DIY versus done for you for websites. Now we're getting into AI. Our whole
Yeah.
website is like about done for you website stuff. And then like, okay, also if you want to DIY it, and now it's like AI. So I'm even thinking like at the top of your headline, if you know that you're sending all of those people to the same website, then I do think at the top, it's sort of like a pick your path type of
Yeah.
journey,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, are you coming for like, do you want me to produce you or do you want to learn how to get into the media? And it's sort of like they pick their path.
Mhm.
Um, or you strategically, like you can use the same domain, but strategically have a page that's very specific for production. And it's very clearly like in their face, like hire for production on the menu bar or something, right? And then that takes them to a more of a sales page that's all about your production or an alternative quote homepage that then gets them to right like the portal or the doorway to all of that. So this is where like when we do our business strategy slash website planning, it's like looking at the entire business. What is the goal? What are your offers? How are you bringing in income? Now, where are you sharing it? How are you driving traffic to your website?
Mhm.
When they get there, how do we want to get them on the list? How do we want to get them to purchasing different offers? Because we're big on user experience as well and user interface, so that UI UX of how are we strategically positioning and putting things to get them to the right place? Because that's what people want. Again, fast action. You have to hook them in. You have to be able to put what they want in front of them quickly or they will leave. So it's like we would get way more, Jamie, into like the strategy of like, where are you talking about different things? Does it make sense for it to be all on one website? Okay, yes. If it does, are they all going, are you kind of leading them to the homepage, or no, you've got these different side offers? And so like, it's okay if the main page is talking about one because you're really guiding those people to a specific landing page for an offer or something.
Mhm.
So I think it's not a simple answer, but it can be different.
Yeah.
Um, I think Alex Hermosi, I haven't looked at it recently, but I think you go to his URL and it's literally like one question and it's like, which are you? And you like click a button and that takes you to the website that pertains to it, right? So it's like there's different versions of what you can do, and it's all based on your business and what you're doing.
Yeah. At one point, I had just black with purple and white boxes, like pick your path. And then
Mhm.
it was go to those paths. And I
Mhm.
tested that out for like a few weeks. And then I was like,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
yeah, it is just to your point, there's a strategy behind it. To us creatives, it's hard to commit. Go ahead, Claire.
That's okay. I was gonna say, um, it's it's a smart start. You need to give people a little bit more for those that are just coming to the little creepers, right? They're not quite ready to maybe even take action, and they're just coming to explore. So oftentimes what I would recommend as far as user experience goes, maybe having those paths at the top, like which one
Mhm,
are you? And then keeping them on that page with what we call anchor buttons
mhm,
or anchor links that bring them down to the section for them to kind of get an idea. So if you're like, do you want me to produce you? They click yes. Uh, and then like the other one would be ready to be seen, right? And like, I'm
mhm,
so ready.
mhm.
Otherwise, right under that, you have something that says unsure, just keep exploring or keep scrolling.
Yeah.
And then from there, you have sections underneath that speak to those very specific things. Again, still brief. We're not putting two sales pages on your homepage. We're
Mhm,
just giving them the opportunity to read a little bit more like, what does she mean by produce me? Or what does she mean by get seen on the media? You answer a few questions that they're asking in their head through the copy
mhm,
and then give them the opportunity to go to that sales page and consume more. So there's strategy and design and user experience and
mhm,
flowing through that process. And then I would take it, back to our what we would ask in the strategy session. Where are these people coming from? And that is where you get to be really specific. Maybe a podcast conversation is bringing in the people that want to be seen in the media, whereas your Instagram talking heads is where you're talking about how you produce people because that's the two different audiences, or
mhm,
you have two different audiences on one platform and you are very clear about what that call to action is. Let them bypass the home page, go straight to the producer's page, go
mhm,
straight to, so there's a lot of strategy and design, and you have to be really clear about what it is that you want to offer, how you want to position it, and how you want to show up confidently in that brand, going back to the very beginning at the top of this,
mhm,
so that it's really clear why they're leaving the thing that they're at, why they're leaving the YouTube video, why they're leaving the LinkedIn post, where they're going to go, and giving them, making them feel confident that they're going to get that answer, so that they can trust you, so that they
mhm.
can keep coming back to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And it is hard to do on your own, guys, as someone who has tried and juggled and keeps coming back to Chrissy and Claire and being like, help me. Um, you guys need to have a strategy in place, but before you do it, you really need to know who you are and what you're serving, what you're doing, who you're serving, how you want to serve your business, because you don't want to jump in and just make the website. And I would hear people say that before, but in production, you always had like producers just have websites, right? So not having a website was weird for me.
Mhm.
So if you're someone like that, I get it. But you do want to be very tactical. So before we like wrap this up, I definitely want to make sure I bring up the fact that you guys had a podcast. Like podcasting is one of those things that you're in for a while, you're out, you make it private, you get it, you do things with it. There's a lot you can do with a podcast over time. since this is a podcast, but I primarily focus on YouTube, I'm curious, do you still wish you were active with your podcast? Like what are your thoughts on podcasting and authenticity and branding?
I think there's a time and a place for podcasting, thinking about your business strategy. In the beginning, I was trying to blog and I was like, I got to use my voice. And so podcasting was just easier for me to like sit in front of the camera because I would do lives a lot and then I would just
Yeah.
go for it and talk and turn it into the podcast. Or if you're making videos, YouTube videos, like take the audio. Like if you're not showing something visually, listening to a podcast. I listened to a podcast just yesterday and they were clearly showing something visual and they uploaded it to the podcast. And I felt like I was missing so much. I was like, I need to redo this whole thing on wherever that video lives. I'm like, is it YouTube? Like, where is it? So also like thinking about like, is it going to be a disservice to like put some of that stuff on a podcast when clearly someone's like, I don't understand because I'm not seeing what's happening. But I just think they're like podcasting was amazing. It was great. There's production, then there's marketing it.
Yeah.
Now I think with AI being even more evolved and Claude Cowork and all these things, I could probably set it up and be able to really manage it. But it was just a lot. So we just had to pick and choose, like, what are we going to focus on? And podcast was just not that thing at that
Well, and
time.
Krissy started Badass is the New Black. That was her podcast. She ran 6 seasons. And it was all about business and strategy, which she does still to this day. It's still very on brand. But she launched it when our business was the Chrissy Chin. And she brought, I was kind of behind the scenes, and I have been a little bit more behind the scenes always in our business. However, there was this, and this comes back again, back to branding. It's like it was branded as the Chrissy show. And I did feel like I wanted or could show up. Like even when people would ask me what I did, I'm like, well, my sister and I build websites. They're like, oh, what's your website? And I'm like, the Chrissy Chin. Like that's
Oh, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like there's a disconnect. There's an identity crisis that it made it hard for me to even be really authentic and honest about what I do for work because it didn't feel aligned with what we wanted to put out there. And so when we but in the meantime, I was helping her cut snippets for social media and put together the SEO portion on the back end of Kajabi for her blog and making cover photos for all of these blog or podcasts that she was doing, and it was consuming hours of my day, and I couldn't get the things done that I actually wanted to get done. And I mean, it was its own little business, its own little side business that was just all consuming. And so when we decided to retire it, Krissy decided to sunset it. Is that what you call it in the industry? I don't
Yeah.
know. That's
No.
it.
So,
It
yeah.
opened up a lot of time for us to do other things, such as get on other people's podcasts, which then allowed us to be able to come together and show up with other people's audience and then bring that back to our site on our media page, which we actually just launched recently, to then create backlinks and connection between people that have authority in other industries that are speaking about us, talking about us. We can also link to them. So I just go back to strategy behind what you're doing online. You want to make sure that it is serving you to the best of your ability. If you're doing this thing because everyone says do a podcast because they want it to get to know you, they want whatever the reason is, but it's not serving you because it's sucking the life out of you, and your audience may have 100 downloads and you can't get in front of anyone else's audience because you're too busy trying to make the podcast, right? So like, what is the thing that you need to focus on that's going to be the biggest return on your investment, that's going to serve your audience, that's going to elevate your brand cohesion? Think about all of that before deciding to just dive into like the next cool thing that everyone's doing. Everyone has a podcast.
Yeah. And I know, like, Jamie, this is what you also help people with. Like, how are you going to get known and be out there? Is it you're going to establish your own podcast and that's a part of your brand and you're building authority? Or is it, hey, I really need to get in front of other audiences to get known? I will say that switching from, okay, we're doing our own podcast and having the conversation Great. People still listen to the episodes. There's 6 years of content on there. Now getting on other people's podcasts like we are now, it has had the biggest return on our investment. We've gotten a lot of clients from people hearing real life, what we're like and building that trust here, just listening to the episode. And then they're like, oh my gosh, the things you were saying, that your website should be your strategic business partner and it should sell for you while you're sleeping, while you're out there getting in front of people. I need that and I want that. And they come to us. So whether you're doing a podcast for your own business or maybe, YouTube, like love it. YouTube's great, amazing. I would say do YouTube over podcasting. I don't know, depending on your business. But the getting on podcasts or getting in people's communities, whatever that is, that has been huge for our business. So that's just a testament and validation for Jamie, what you're doing of trying to get people to have this presence to where people want to invite them on. We've been on podcasts and then had other people contact us to come on their podcast because they heard us on the podcast, right? So when people see you in the media on these podcasts, they're like, oh my gosh, like, who is this person?
Yeah.
I loved what they were saying. I want to bring them on. It's like this snowball starts to be built and then eventually you start rolling down the hill, which is great.
Or up.
Yeah.
Go up. Yeah, exactly.
That's right.
Oh, I love that. So you mentioned Sell While You Sleep. So before we go, tell us about your book.
Yeah. Okay.
We're at what did we 2 years in? Anniversary?
2 years in.
Yeah. 2-year anniversary. Go ahead.
2 years in. It's called Sell While You Sleep: How to Turn Your Knowledge into an Automated Online Business to Create a Life of Freedom. That's the whole subline, y'all. It's not the whole thing. But really, it's, taking your knowledge, your experience, your expertise. Like, Jamie, I know you work with so many people that are in the news and have been in production. And now they're like kind of taking on their own. Like, what do I want to do? What do I want to talk about? It kind of guides you through that. And then through really the online business stuff that's not so sexy, but you kind of need to know, like you need a website and you need to grow an email list and you need to create content. And so it really kind of talks you through that and shares stories of what we've learned in our journey. We've owned multiple businesses in different industries. We've had some ups and we've had some downs where we were making 60K a month and then profiting zero. And I talk about that very openly in the book and how we built back up. So it's a very honest book on what to look at, what you need to know and learn. I think that even more powerful now with AI and how you can leverage AI, the things that I talk about in the book that do need to be done for a business, whether you like it or not, getting on social media, building an email list, having an email funnel, that stuff can be done so much faster now with AI. So it's almost more exciting. I'm like thinking the other day, like, is my book outdated now? And then I was like, no, it's definitely not. If anything, it's like, wow, all the things I talk about that you really need to do can be sped up with AI. And actually, it is a lot. It's a lot to do. It's a lot to create if you're a solopreneur. And if you can't hire a team to do it, like, don't get sucked into those big people online that you're like, oh my gosh, their videos are amazing. And like, oh, they've got huge teams, right? So like start with Jamie, be able to produce some really solid, good things with, what you can, and then leverage AI to do all the other things we talk about, and you'll be set up.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And then thank you for sharing. And guys, her book we'll make sure is linked in the description. I have it on my Amazon storefront, so I can make some coin off your purchase as well.
That's right.
Love it. And that's how you
I get like 2 cents. 2 cents.
That's all right. Any cents count, and that's how you sell while you sleep.
I'll be selling while I sleep. So Claire, any final thoughts you have?
Well, we did actually just launch or release a new tool that does help with AI speed up the process of figuring out your brand identity when it comes to copywriting and your tone of voice and like your offer position. It's called the Brand Brain, and that is something that could be really useful for your audience as far as talking through who they are as a business and what they offer and honing in on their audience. It's kind of the first step before you really even dive into the other side of branding, which is, in my opinion, the fun part, the visuals, the presence, the persona. You need to know all of the other things. Like, what is your mission? Who are you speaking to? How do you want to show up in this world? Are you casual? Are you professional? All of those things. You go through almost like an interview process. So we do have that. We can link that as well.
Yeah, I
That's
think the
awesome.
little tidbit that I don't think was mentioned with that is it's helping you set up your AI
Oh, yeah.
so that it speaks to
Yes.
you.
This is all AI tool.
All AI tools.
Yeah. Yeah. So we launched the AI Advantage where we're helping you because we're like, okay, this is inevitable. You guys are going to use AI whether we
Yeah.
want you to write your copy with it or not. So let's teach you how to use it well, so that it really can work for you. And so it's called the AI Advantage, a weekly newsletter with multiple columns in it. And then there's more AI tools and things that stem off of that. But the AI brand brain copy edition
Wow.
is mentioned in there
I
as
don't
well.
know how you
Super
guys do
helpful.
it. I don't know how you do it all.
We're leveraging more AI. That's
Wow. But guys, hearing what they're saying, like if you need AI copy, check it out. Again, we'll have it all linked in the description. When Chrissy sends me the links, I'll add them. Guys, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks, Jamie.
Aren't they so fun? I absolutely love Krissy and Claire, and they're a really good dynamic combination of expertise. So if you are looking to revitalize your website or launch it for the first time, reach out. There's also a link to their website and all they have going on in the description, so check it out. And be sure to stick around for more from Unknown to Known. We have conversations with TV anchors, reporters, YouTubers, influencers, and I'm also really focusing on how people secure press from posts. So if you're someone who has posted on social media, LinkedIn, YouTube, whichever, and you landed traditional media, I want to hear from you. Email me at hello@oncamready.com. And I'll see you guys online.